Here we go. Okay. Hello, everybody. It is What If Wednesday. We're so happy to be on, and I am your fabulous host, Michelle Hendrickson, and the crowd goes, whoa! And I'm introducing my new friend, Deb Starkey, and we are so excited to hear her story. And so what I want to do is I'm just here to ask some questions I think you're going to fall in love with her, just like we all do. And so you can, learn all about the fabulous Deb and what fun things have occurred in her life as a Mary Kay girl. So Deb, tell us, how long have you been in Mary Kay and what got you into this interesting little sisterhood we have?
Well, I just celebrated 19 years in Mary Kay in November. I know it seems like it was yesterday. It's so funny. I would say I've been a sales director like 18, just under 8. June will be 18. So we've been in Mary Kay about the same amount of time. Michelle, so,
yeah.
Okay,
wow, that's a long time. This is why we look so young. Look at us. There's not a wrinkle on us. It's all right. Everyone needs to sell it because that's what we get.
Right.
Well, so now what caused you to become a part of Mary Kay? What, I know you didn't wake up as a small child going, I'm going to be a Mary Kay girl.
I totally didn't. I'm the last person you'd ever think would be a Mary Kay consultant, honestly.
So why is that?
Tomboy. I washed with Lever 2000. Do you even know what Lever 2000 is? Like deodorant soap.
Oh God, it's very bad for kids.
Yeah. Holy Jean T-shirt, spit up on the shoulder. That was my look. With Carmex, I used Carmex, and that was about the only thing I used on my face. Like, honestly, even using a moisturizer was foreign to me. So, right? That's kind of a hello. Yeah. Up until it was probably I was probably using the product for about 6 months prior to that. But interestingly enough, if I go way back in time, when I was 20 something years old, I had a friend that I worked with just out of college, and she asked me over for a facial. And thank goodness she knew that I was allergic to nuts, because walnut shavings used to be in one of our masks. And I thank God now that she knew that I was allergic, and she knew what ingredients were in the products, that she didn't allow me to use that. Otherwise, I would have been allergic to Mary Kay with one ingredient in one product.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, this is why Mary Kay girls got to do their homework. So that's a good lesson for us. Do your homework and find out about your customer before you do it.
Well, and now what's wonderful is consultants can go on and you can research. If somebody says, is they're allergic to an ingredient, we can type it in, and within seconds, we know you will not be using that lipstick. I had one gal that was allergic to apricots, and this is probably about 10 years ago. And we had one shade of lipstick that had an apricot in it. And I'm like, that's not your shade.
So, well, this is why you've been to Mary Kay for 19 years and you're so successful, because you do use the computer and the things that are available. That's smart.
Yeah, just the different tools. We just have we put a bunch of tools in our toolbox and it all works out great. Yeah. And none of us came in knowing any of this. I mean, my goodness, I had to learn it all. I mean, at least, most of my consultants that are either customers or consultants of mine, they knew more about makeup than I did when I started, because I knew nothing.
Well, so that leads me to say, like, what would have made you start? Because if you're saying you're a tomboy and you were like nothing and you had spit up on your shirt, like, what would have drawn you in? I would think you would be like, oh, Scary Kay.
Well, a funny story. The gal that lived across the street, she had just moved in. She was a blonde Barbara doll from the South. Her name was Mindy, and she was precious. And she was talking, I went to go meet her, and imagine the look, white t-shirt, Holy Jeans, spit up on the shoulder. Kids were 2 and 5. And I was talking to her in the driveway, and she says, well, I work in the tech center, and I work in IT. And she says, oh my goodness, I'm also a Mary Kay beauty consultant. I'll give you a facial. And she did the head bob with her blonde ponytail and the hands on the hips. And I was looking at her going, what is she going to do to me? But I wanted to meet her and I wanted to be nice. So I went over to her house and she gave me a very basic facial, and I just kept petting my skin, and she did satin lips on and I was like, my lips felt so good. My skin felt so good. And at that point, anyone that has small kids, I was lucky to get a shower, honestly. So, just being able to use a cleanser and a moisturizer was a big deal. So I started with just a cleanser and a moisturizer. And then about about 6 months later, she came to me and she said, Deb, my director, well, she challenged me. I'm trying to go on Target for my car. And, my director, she challenged me to talk to the 5 sharpest women I know. And guess what? You're one of them. And I honestly rolled my eyes. Thank goodness she didn't see me roll my eyes, because I thought, honey, don't you know I have degrees? And don't you know that you can talk to me until you're blue in the face, but there's no way I'm doing that. Because I thought it was, I don't know what I thought it was, but I didn't imagine anything about what it was. But anyway, so fast forward, she came over and talked to me, and I realized the products that I could get for cost. And I thought, well, what if somebody actually bought something from me? Wait, what if I actually made some money? And wait, what? So anyway, so here we are. A bunch of trips with my daughters all over the world, and 2 daughters that are exceeding in life and have graduated college and just doing extraordinary things in the world. And here I am, still having my great business. So yeah.
Wow, that's a big one. I mean, I would have to say that Mary Kay consultant had a lot of like guts to ask you, just because you were already like, and then but yet you really were. I mean, it was great that you like put your well-educated stuff to the side, because I have multiple degrees and all of that, and I felt the same way. I was like, dude, I already have so many master's degrees and la la la, I don't need to be selling stuff. And it's like, once I started to look at it, it was like, this actually makes a lot of sense, like this kind of sense.
Right.
Cash code. Yeah.
Right.
So, okay. So that's fascinating. Wow. Okay. Well, so that leads me to ask, okay, so you have 2 daughters. So tell me more about your life and how that's, because, you've been in Mary Kay for 19 years. So clearly your kids have grown through it. What has Mary Kay
life has evolved. Yeah. When I started, I was married and my husband was traveling probably 90% of the time. So I was a part-time single parent and was trying to navigate life like that. And so Mary Kay kind of was a little bit of my escape. And I just figured out how to navigate it. And more is caught than taught. I'm grateful that I was a part of Mary Kay, so my kids could see me make goals, and they could see me miss goals, and they could see how I would respond in both situations. And that's tremendous. That's tremendous to be able to, help them be able to experience that and not have everything be sunshine and roses all the time, but anyway, so I got the bug. One of the first things that I did with my very first, Mary Kay money was I took my family to Hawaii. And I was honestly like, pinch myself. Wait, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I've paid for this trip. We did, the whole Shamu. Anyway, we did some amazing stuff there. And so I got the travel bug. So I wanted to pay for trips to go to different places. So now I've taken my kids, both my daughters. Well, I went through a divorce too. That was a lovely little thing that happened through my Mary Kay, which, interestingly enough, my Mary Kay family really supported me and helped me through that. And I didn't have to leave my kids and go get another job or do something else like that. I was still able to support them by being with it. But anyway, so all the fun trips, I've taken them now, Mexico several times, Hawaii. We went to, my daughter lives in Ireland now, so I've been to Ireland a couple times. And we had an exchange student from Finland. So Sean lives in Copenhagen, Denmark, but he grew up in Finland. So in 2017, we went to Copenhagen, so Denmark, Finland, and Italy. Oh, and I forgot, we went to Australia, New Zealand too. That was really fun. So a lot of fun little travel. And I'm getting ready to go back to Ireland because my daughter graduated with her master's and I want to go be there with her when she graduates. So some fun things.
That's amazing. I mean, what I was catching was, number one, it's Mary Kay, started as like some fun money, and also, like a trip money. And I've been to Hawaii multiple times. And let me just explain it to nobody who has not been, is that place is not cheap. The tickets, the living, everywhere you go is like 7 times the cost than it is up in here in the mainland. Yep. So love it there, but yeah, it's a chunk of change. So it's like, it's in this fun money. This is some real money.
Yeah. And Michelle, my daughter just graduated from Baylor last May. So I took her to Maui. We rented not only a convertible, but a Mini Cooper convertible. and drove around the island. One of my friends was like, oh, we're doing excursions to go snorkel and everything. I'm like, we got an excursion every day because we've got this little Mini Cooper convertible that we're taking out. And anyway, it's very fun. But
Oh my God. And going to Baylor, that's a private school. So we do know the cost of those things. So I think that to me is just it's a great case in point that Mary Kay like might have started with for you with just, what if I sold something? And now, oh yeah, no, I'm taking my kids on trips with all of this. This is, financially giving you freedom. The fact that you've gotten to navigate it first as a married woman and now not now, but as divorcing and doing it, you're the sole provider. That's a whole nother situation entirely. And, that's an eye opener. Yeah.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, some people might even think, gosh, how did you do that? I mean, I love that you shared that the Mary Kay sisterhood helped you and supported you during these rough times, because I found that to be very true myself. They're my closest friends, and like family to me. But I'm just thinking there had to be times that you felt like you wanted to give up. Like it can't just all be roses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes it was like daily. And it's what I tell people, it's not a matter of if something's going to happen, it's when, my mom struggled with Alzheimer's for 8 years, and she recently passed away in August. And there are so many times with either my daughters or my parents, because, as we get older, we start taking care of our parents, and there's other things that you have to do. I can't tell you how many times I've had to jump and run. My daughter experienced a lot of mental health issues. And there was one day I got a call at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I basically threw some clothes in a suitcase. Didn't have to ask anyone for time off. I called a girlfriend on the way to the airport to see if she could watch my dog. And I was on a plane that afternoon to go be there for my daughter. And that kind of stuff happens. It happens all the time. And I, will tell people, you've got to have some kind of plan B, because we don't know. And especially being single, I've always got to have some kind of plan B going on.
Well, for sure. And I think honestly, that's very inspiring, because, I know a lot of people, and I myself included, before I was in Mary Kay, I thought it was for people who were like stay-at-home moms or just want some extra chump change or something like this. Like it wasn't a real career. But hearing your story, it again reminds me that, people, plenty of women just like myself and yourself have made a wonderful living with it. And that's your whole living, mine too. And that you're the one who does it all, two things, it all. And then you're able to have the flexibility, because as a mom, that's the number one job, is being the mom. You have to be, and wow, the fact that you were able to, not just with my daughter has a cold, this is like a major thing, and not be asking and begging for time off and all the other stuff that moms feel so guilty about doing whenever they work for someone else, that big guilt. And so I can't even imagine that. I applaud you.
Our business is such that we can take it other places. And that's actually one of my goals, is to be able to travel, because I love traveling. If you can't tell.
Right, I can tell.
That, and actually after my mom passed away, I mean, I went again, back to Oregon. And then when I came home, I was really struggling. Talking with one of my Mary Kay sisters, and I said, I just really want to get away. I just got to get away. I went by myself to Myrtle Beach for a week, and I moved the couch in front of the plate glass window to look out and watch the ocean. And I told myself I was going to work no more than 4 hours each day. And I did. I was in contact with people, and thankfully we can ship things from Mary Kay corporate, or I can have my assistant put things out for people or what have you. There's ways to make it so you can be in contact with people and support people in your business, but yet we can still do other things that we really need to do in our life, So that's one of my goals, is I still want to be able to travel and to do things, but something's going to happen at any point in our life, and we've got to have the opportunity to take care of things when we can,
I so agree with you, and I applaud you. I see that, and especially your story really speaks that so much, and you can take it anywhere. So that's a huge plus. Well, okay, so I have to ask too, because it's, nearing the end of the year, end of the calendar year. And so, some people, might be watching this and thinking, well, this is it's a very inspiring story. I know I'm inspired. And so, some people might think, well, because sometimes you think, well, that sounds like a great idea, but I'll just wait until the new year to start a Mary Kay business. Why would I want to do it, before the end of the year? And so what would you say if somebody was kind of thinking those thoughts?
What's interesting is that we put off more things, like, you put off the diet, you put off this, you put off that. And then when do you actually ever start? Sometimes you never do, because you're like, well, let me think about it. Let me try to decide. I mean, now in Mary Kay, my gosh, you can get started for $30. I mean, you can't even get a Costco membership for $30. I mean, seriously, so if you're curious, and this is one thing where I kept kind of hemming and hawing, like, I wonder if I'd be good, the Wonder game. I wonder if I'd be good. I wonder if I'd have fun. I wonder if anybody buy anything from me. So the whole, I wonder, I decided the only way that I'm going to know is if I give it a go, right? And actually try. There is one thing about like starting, but if you never, first you have to get started to start, right? But you have to start to get started. So just give it a go. And you know what better way to get a tax deduction, before the end of the year? So start now, get your starter kit, get some, some products on hand, get some things going so you can tax write off in 2021 and not wait for 2022, because, it's kind of like having a baby right at the end of the year. Those lovely little tax deductions, a lot of people don't start for tax deductions, but I'll tell you what, Uncle Sam doesn't need your money. They've got that figured out. So yeah, just to get going. Yeah.
I so see that. I totally agree with you. I think I love the idea of the wonder game. That's a good thing to call that, because, you could wonder forever, or you could just decide and see and make it work.
Right.
So, well, and I love that too, because you're right. It's $30 and that deal lasts until the New Year's Eve at midnight. That goes away. So it is a short time, and you're right. You can't, there's no other time to start something for $30. You want to have that opportunity, come Saturday morning. So yeah, you may as well just get started and get going, and get moving. Because it's kind of like, I guess, if you didn't love how 2021 was, why do the same thing? So let's change something, right? Okay. Well, girl, I love your story. I think it was so amazing. And I really think you did a great job in sharing, some of the facts. So I'm just so thankful. So we'll just wrap up for any people who watch this back. And I really am encouraged that of all that you shared. I think that I'd love to know what our people think about it. So this is your choice, individuals. Y'all let your consultant know if you're an A. Hey, it sounds amazing. I absolutely want to sign up for 30. That's, totally for me. That's an A. A B is, okay, bribe me real fast for a cup of coffee or something. So ask more questions for a second. Want to know a little more. A C is, okay, I'm going to be a cool customer. I'll be happy to pay retail and host a party to get some free stuff, or discounts. That's a C customer.
Free stuff is always great.
Correct. And a D is, oh, don't ask me again. I'd rather eat dirt, be on down inside the road than be in Mary Kay. And I'm thinking, nobody wants to be a D. So your choices are A through C. So let your beauty consultant know. And of course, we'd also love to know what touched you the most. What was the most interesting thing that you heard about this? Like what did you like the most from hearing the story? Because I know I was touched, and I really appreciate your time, Deb. And we really appreciate you for being a participant.
Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. Thanks for having me. And you know what? I'm always a fan of anyone in Mary Kay. And even if you come in, it's kind of one of those things you can come in for a reason, season, or a lifetime, you may just come in just so you can make some extra money for something that you need to get for the holidays, or I guess the holidays are over now, but for a gift for somebody, or for a new washing machine, or fun money, or whatever it is.
Right, exactly. And then it can turn into something. That's the thing, just like you never know. Well, I really appreciate you. I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.